This is Greg Troutwine with Maritime Reporter TV, and we're very pleased to be joined today by Samantha Weckesser, CEO of Homer, to discuss her team's recent maritime innovation. So, Samantha, to start us off, can you just give us a short personal and educational and a professional background? Specifically, did you always envision yourself in the maritime technology industry?
Yeah. So to start, maritime was not even on my radar. It was definitely not the plan. It's something that I very happily fell into in college. So my background is in engineering. My both of my degrees are from Stevens Institute of Technology. So I have a bachelor's of engineering in industrial and systems engineering, and then a master's in systems engineering with a concentration on large scale cyber physical systems. So basically, a fancy way of saying I like big systems. With a lot of moving parts that are very complicated. So during my college experience, I had the opportunity to be a research intern for the Maritime Security Center. It was something that I applied to, and I was fortunate enough to get in. But I was, pretty fresh in college. I was doing it for the experience, and then I found out that, wait, this maritime stuff is pretty interesting. Hold on. This could change the trajectory of my plans. And sure enough, it did. So that is really where this love of maritime started, and it has taken me through my entire college experience and now into my post grad where I started Homer.
Can you give us an overview today? I traditionally call it my by the numbers look, but I'm really just looking at something that gives our audience a sense of who your company is, what Homer is, and just kind of the size and scope of the operations.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a small but mighty team of me, a co-founder, and then actually one of my professors at Stevens has also become my business partner. So really, it's the three of us forging a path ahead. And we have been fortunate enough to have some interns that have joined us. And we also have an advisory board of veterans of the maritime industry who have a great perspective to share with us. We are all working together towards Homer and towards our main product, Calypso.
I did see that, as we discussed, Homer offers a system called Calypso that is designed to help reduce risk across the global container shipping sector. But before we dive into that specific technology, can you give some background and context to the problem that you and your team identified that demanded a solution?
Exactly. So, like I mentioned, this all started when I was a research assistant in a laboratory. And while in that lab, we had the opportunity to work with US Coast Guard Sector New York, and they handed us a big swath of data about shipping containers and specifically shipping containers that have failed inspection. And they asked if there was anything that could be derived from that information, anything useful. So, our task was to go through and find any kind of data infirmities or anything that would indicate a larger problem. And lo and behold, that is what we found. So we found a lot of problems within that data that indicated real world problems. So from that point, we really started thinking, wait a minute, this is a problem worth solving. So with container shipping, specifically with hazmat, there is a lot of risk involved, not only just from shipping it, but also from, bad actors in the system that are shipping things undeclared, misdeclared, essentially the way that they're not supposed to. And the problem that this creates is if something were to detonate, explode, catch on fire, leak, there are so many problems that happen. So, for instance, billions of dollars in damage, something that could take down an entire ship, even just something that could cause a supply chain disruption and then create incurred fees. Now things are sitting at the port. So from even the smallest problem all the way up to a disastrous fire on a ship, there are issues. Additionally, environmental catastrophes when things end up in the ocean that are not supposed to, again, especially hazmat, and also crew welfare. This is a big problem for them too, because they're the ones that are going to be stuck on this boat if something happens. So we found within that data that there were a lot of problems with specific materials, specific shippers, countries of origin. There were certain problems that were undeniable. So what we did to combat these issues in our development of Calypso is to create a system to go through these containers find the most high risk ones so we can predict what is most likely to fail inspection. So when, for instance, a regulator goes out on their inspections, they can pull that material out of the supply chain before something bad happens. And on the commercial side, it presents an opportunity for those ship owners, those shippers, and insurance companies that have a vested interest in risk analysis to analyze these containers before they even set sail, before they even have the opportunity for something to go wrong.
You discussed Calypso in the round. Can you just take a little bit deeper dive into the technology?
The way that Calypso works is it has a machine learning model, and that machine learning model has been trained on over 20 years of data regarding failing containers. So all of that data that it's been trained on has allowed it to learn what is most likely to cause a problem based on which CFR and IMDG codes it has failed, and then thus predict when presented with a new set of containers, it will go container by container and assign a risk score based on past information, which allows it to continuously learn. So when new containers are presented and the results of those container inspections are re-input back into Calypso, Calypso can identify where it failed and where it succeeded to then make better predictions going forward. So essentially, not only does it provide that risk analysis, but then we also have a page that includes trends. And so if things are becoming more of a problem that we're noticing, it will identify those particular problems. And it also has the capability to complete certain paperwork. So for instance, right now, because we've been very Coast Guard focused and related, it will complete hold forms. So when those are sent to the port to put things aside for inspection, that inclusive process. So it'll read a vessel's manifest, find the containers. A regulator can go through, pick the containers that they want to inspect. Hold form is created, send that to the port, and now it is a much more seamless transition between all these pieces of information. Now they're all joining at one point, and we're all speaking this universal language of safety and security. So actually, funny enough that you mentioned the Grande Costa de Avorio fire in Newark in 2023 with, unfortunately we lost two firefighters. I had the opportunity to work on that investigation with the Coast Guard. I was interning with them at the time. And that is another great example of the containers that we opened from that vessel had a lot of undeclared hazmat and a lot of problems.
Who is a potential client that would be interested to use Calypso?
Yeah, at this point, I think we're focused on mostly ship owners and shippers. So really identifying the people that have a vested interest in their containers that want to do the right thing and want to protect themselves. Additionally, in the insurance space, people that are invested in risk mitigation, risk analysis, this is a great opportunity to inspect things on the digital side before anything has the opportunity to set sail and cause problems.
Sam, well, I truly do appreciate your time. I really just had one question. Everyone watching this, reading this, they like a good case study. Can you discuss how the system has been put to the test with insights on what's next or the next step for this tech and your company?
Absolutely. So like I said, we started with working with Sector New York. And before our system was even completely built, just based on our preliminary data analysis of the data that we were presented with, we were able to develop just some recommendations of, okay, next time you're going out on inspection, maybe take a special look at containers that have this or from this place or this port of origin, whatever. And just from those very basic recommendations, they were able to find 3 times more deficiencies within shipping containers. So we expect that number to increase significantly with actual implementation of our system. So for instance, Sector New York has about 7.4 million containers coming in and out every year, but they only have the manpower to inspect about 2,400 of those containers. So it's really about making those containers count, because that's 0.0003% of anything even gets looked at. So we're really trying to make a difference there. So our goal right now, as we move forward, we are ready for complete testing of the system. It is up and running. It is ready to go. We are looking for an opportunity to test it. So anyone that has access to containers, manifests, we would love that opportunity to test it, because I'm not going to sell an untested product. That is not what I believe in. So we're working towards finding, a partnership in which we can truly test our system and then customize it more for, the commercial side as we're moving towards that sector.